Good morning and welcome to Farm Factor. I'm your host, Jamie Bloom. On today's show, Duane Towes visits with seasoned Solorio to talk about Chuck Knows Beef, an AI program that answers all of your beef questions. Then enjoy this week's Kansas Soybean update. Next, Kyle Bauer and Ambassador Gregg Doud talk about current agriculture trading trends and new trade deals. Then it's this week's Kansas Farm Bureau update, and we'll end with Plain Talk featuring Kyle and Duane. Stay with us.
Closed captioning brought to you by Ag Promo Source. Together we grow. Learn more at agpromosource.com. This segment brought to you by Kansas Farm Bureau, the voice of agriculture. To join today or more information, go to kfb.org or find us on Facebook and Twitter.
Welcome to Farm Factor. Let's join Duane Towes as he talks with seasoned Solorio about Chuck Knows Beef.
Duane Towes joining him once again here on Ag AM in Kansas, and an opportunity to catch up with seasoned Solorio with the National Cattlemen's Beef Association and marketing and promotions. And season, it's a really exciting time for promoting beef with a catchy new program that a lot of people are excited about that's extremely useful.
Yes, we're very excited that Beef It's What's for Dinner, as a program from the Beef Checkoff, is just recently launched Chuck Knows Beef. So Chuck is the first all-knowing beef expert. He's powered by Google Artificial Intelligence, and we say that he has the skills of a chef, the know-how of a rancher, but the sense of humor of a dad. So what we're really trying to do is pull that Beef It's What's for Dinner personality through. Any question that you can get answered on beefitswhatsfordinner.com, you can also ask Chuck Knows Beef, and he'll answer it for you. And he's available right now either through chuckknowsbeef.com, so that could be a website interactive experience you could access on your desktop computer, on a tablet, on a smartphone. But we've also recently launched him on Amazon. So if you just maybe got an Amazon Echo or an Amazon Dot, a smart speaker for the holidays, you can actually download the Chuck Knows Beef audio skill, and he'll talk back to you so you can get your latest and greatest beef recipes directly into your kitchen, maybe as you're preparing your holiday meals.
Well, certainly it is a time of electronics and a differing age that we're in, particularly with some people that don't have a tremendous amount of experience in the kitchen, but they want to. Sounds just like this is a great fit for them.
It is, and that's one of the biggest barriers we continue to see with people continuing to eat beef. They don't know what different cuts are. They don't know how to prepare beef. And we're really hoping that Chuck Knows Beef can solve both of those barriers. So whether or not you want to ask him a question like, what is a flat iron steak? Or what is a recipe that I can make with a flat iron steak? Chuck can absolutely solve for those needs with consumers today.
The interesting thing you referenced, though, is that the massive amount of data and the information that it can draw upon that really brings it forward to the consumer.
Yes, absolutely. So it can take anything from beefitswhatsfordinner.com, which was, remember, relaunched last year to really focus on being an expert on all things beef. Whether that means cuts or recipes and preparation, whether that means answering questions about, for example, how antibiotics are used in raising beef, whether or not beef is heart healthy or sustainable. Those are also all questions that Chuck can pull through and help answer any question consumers might have. The best part is because he is artificially intelligent, he gets smarter literally minute by minute. So the more consumers ask him questions, the more we can make sure that Chuck has different answers to meet different consumer needs and questions.
I got to be honest, that's kind of intimidating for a guy that you've got a computer program that learns as it goes. I know there'll be some folks that may be uncomfortable with that, but the great thing is that it can launch nation and really worldwide.
Yeah, absolutely. Our hope is that we can really tap into the 50 million Americans who currently own smart speakers. So the two most popular smart speakers, as I mentioned, are those Amazon devices and the Google Homes. We'll be on Google Home coming soon. We're not quite there yet. We're working with them to troubleshoot a little bit and do some bugs. But with 50 million smart speaker owners, think about the opportunity to bring Beef It's What's for Dinner into those homes and hands of those Americans. For reference, it took people 13 years to reach the 50 million mark when it came to TVs being used in homes. It's taken smart speakers 2 years. So we think this is a tremendous and a growing area where Beef It's What's for Dinner and the Checkoff can really be positioned as a leader in this space.
Our thanks to seasoned Solorio and CBA joining us here on Ag AM in Kansas and reminding you that Chuck does know beef, and now it's your opportunity to learn more from the consumer's perspective. For Ag AM, I'm Duane Towes. Jamie, we'll send it back to you.
Thanks, Duane. Folks, come back after these messages for this week's Kansas Soybean Update.
Valley Vet Supply is devoted to providing information and professional quality products at reasonable prices.
ValleyVet.com, ValleyVet.com, Valley Vet Supply.
Next time you see a beautiful field of corn, reach out and thank the farmers who work tirelessly to raise corn for livestock feed, renewable fuels, and exports to feed a growing world population. The farmers on the Kansas Corn Commission work for Kansas Corn with grower-funded checkoff dollars that support foreign and domestic market development, research, promotion, and education to expand opportunities for Kansas farmers. To learn more, visit kscorn.com.
This segment is brought to you by the Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers.
Welcome back to Farm Factor and the Kansas Soybean Update.
This is the Kansas Soybean Update. It's brought to you by the Kansas Soybean Commission. The Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers. Tom Very is joining us. He is the Director of Outreach and Development with the National Biodiesel Board. And Tom, as we look overall at the biodiesel industry, how do you gauge what we've seen as far as its economic impact and jobs, how that affects the industry and around the United States?
This year we're looking at 3 billion gallons of biodiesel use. It's a little over 5% of our diesel pool, and it's being used coast to coast, and that generates significant economic activity. In fact, the USDA just came out with numbers that biodiesel will be using 7.1 billion pounds of soybean oil this year. That's going to be the second largest user of bean oil in the country. That's 35% of all the bean oil we produce. And it's a good thing because we just have such a surplus of soybeans and soybean oil. And if we wouldn't have had that, we've done some economic work. Long term, the value proposition back to the soybean farmers is about 63 cents a bushel. But we did a snapshot analysis and working with an economic firm, and they said, for right now, the impact's about 90 cents a bushel. The way the market is right now, I know farmers need all the demand they can get with the crop is sitting out there. So biodiesel is definitely delivering a good demand for their crop.
And this really is so wide-ranging from small cities to major metropolitan cities as well, who have really embraced using biodiesel.
Our biggest market now is California, believe it or not. It is a 600 million gallon market. It's anticipated to grow to 2 billion gallons by 2030. So think about that. That's two-thirds of our current demand was going to be used in California alone in the coming years.
And its environmental effects, in this case, so positive for the state of California, too.
Absolutely. They have a program called the Low Carbon Fuel Standard. They're trying to decarbonize the transportation fuels. Biodiesel is an excellent, cost-effective way to do that. In fact, California finds biodiesel is the lowest cost option when to get carbon out of heavy-duty and medium-duty vehicles.
Do you see that demand continuing to rise as we head into 2019?
Boy, I sure do, Greg. I mean, Oregon has a similar program now in place called the Oregon Clean Fuels Program that has a similar goals to get carbon out of transportation fuel. That's going to be close to 100 million gallon market for biodiesel this year. Washington is looking to do some kind of carbon legislation to try to decarbonize their fuel. And believe it or not, we have British Columbia has a similar carbon reduction program, and we're selling up there as well.
That's Tom Very, who is the Director of Outreach and Development with the National Biodiesel Board, who joins us on the Kansas Soybean Update. It's brought to you by the Kansas Soybean Commission. The Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers. Learn more at kansassoybeans.org. For Kansas Soybeans, I'm Gregg.
Hope you enjoyed this week's Kansas Soybean Update. Stay with us after the break for more with Kyle Bauer and Ambassador Gregg Doud.
What if U.S. soybean oil were an industry sensation? If end users started asking for it by name? That future is here. The time is now. To meet customer demands, the Soybean Checkoff is investing in varieties that produce oil with increased functionality. A message from the Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers.
All over the country, more and more communities are making the change to biodiesel made from U.S. soybean oil, and the decision continues improving the health and welfare for millions of Americans while adding billions to our national economy.
Ag Promo Source is a unique group of marketing specialists with one mission: help your ag business grow. Each affiliate has their own area of expertise, and they work together to bring you advice, products, and services. To get started, visit agpromosource.com. Ag Promo Source. Together we grow.
Imagine everything you could ever dream about when it comes to horses. Those dreams come true at the 21st Annual Equifest coming to Topeka, Kansas in February at the Kansas Expo Center, the largest equine expo in the Midwest with shopping, food, clinics, workshops, and more. World-class trainers, over 100 horses performing throughout the 3 days, displaying a variety of breeds, disciplines, demonstrations, and competitions. Vendors from all over the U.S. and non-stop entertainment. If you love horses, join us at Equifest of Kansas in Topeka, Kansas. Get tickets at equifestofks.com.
PFI Western Store, home of Boot Daddy, proud to be part of Equifest. PFI, located at 65 on Battlefield in Springfield, Missouri. Spend $50 at PFI and get a Boot Daddy hoodie for only $10.
Kim Mannering with Hardy Insurance. Today we will talk about grain bin safety. And did you know that February 17th through the 23rd is Grain Bin Safety Week? Have you thought, what do you do to keep your employees safe?
This segment brought to you by Sure Crop, liquid crop nutrition delivered right to your farm.
We're back. Now we learn about agricultural trade with Kyle Bauer and Ambassador Gregg Doud.
Hi, this is Kyle Bauer. I have the opportunity to visit with Ambassador Gregg Doud, of course a Kansas native, but integral in the trading that's going on in agriculture right now. Gregg, of course, it's in the news daily in agriculture, but a lot of that is for all the right reasons. And the trend seems to be good for Kansas agricultural products in the future.
You know, we haven't had a bad year in terms of ag exports out of the U.S. We've got a lot of things that we need to be working on in terms of, obviously, China. That topic comes up from time to time. But we have a big agenda coming up next year with regard to Japan, the UK, Europe, and several other things that we're going to be working on as well.
You know, I hope this is fair to ask you this, but it's my perception now that a lot of other countries have been calling us to try to get a deal because they see the handwriting in the wall that is how we're doing business these days.
You know, you're right, Kyle. It's absolutely true that since we finished USMCA, NAFTA, the NAFTA conversations, they see that, we're willing to sit down and have a conversation. And it's been a long time since we've done a deal like that in a free trade deal. So we're going to be working on that now with Japan early next year. And depending on how Brexit goes here, the end of March, we'll know how that works out. Whether we get a chance to sit down with the UK and work something out, and ongoing conversations that are going to be really difficult with Europe. But fortunately, my boss, Ambassador Lighthizer, has said we are not going to have a conversation with Europe that is not going to include agriculture. And that's really, really important.
I read regularly, though, countries that I had never thought about that are asking to get in on long-term trade. For instance, Philippines. And I hope that my information is correct, but it seems that even countries that, I don't know if we take for granted or don't think about at all are wanting to talk.
Well, I think there's a lot of conversation about TPP. And if you do Japan and Vietnam, we've got deals with every other country. That really is TPP. Now, Vietnam isn't quite there yet, but one of the countries that we are having conversations with that we'll see how that goes here late this year, early in the new year, is the Philippines. And that is a legitimate top 10 market for U.S. agriculture. It's 105 million people. It's not too much different than what Mexico was, say, 20 or 25 years ago.
I'm surprised when I talk to the general public how few of them understand how stiff the tariffs are on a number of ag products going into countries.
One of those countries is India. It's interesting that India doesn't really have a tax system, so where they generate revenue for their country is through tariffs. And so some of those tariffs in agriculture are, 70, 80, 90, 100% or more. So I really appreciate USDA's work, Undersecretary McKinney, Undersecretary for Trade at USDA. We're doing a lot of work now to realize that, in the not too distant future, India is going to have more people than China. We've got to get busy to begin to open up that market for us for U.S. ag.
So moving forward, I guess my perception is positive. I get the impression you would agree.
Yeah, we're the dollar has been really strong. Yet, despite that, we're going to have a real good year in terms of U.S. ag exports. We know we have to have that conversation with China, and that's for the president. That the conversation will occur here end of the month. Hopefully, that will lead to another conversation. That'll lead to another conversation. For my part, on the agricultural side, we had a really good conversation the end of May, 1st of June with China regarding agriculture. Hopefully we can have that conversation, but they have to deal with things like intellectual property first.
We're visiting with Ambassador Gregg Doud. This is Kyle Bauer reporting. Back to you, Jamie.
Thanks, Kyle. Come back after the break for this week's Kansas Farm Bureau update.
Hi, I'm Randy.
And I'm Paul from PFI.
We would like to personally invite you to stop by PFI, home of Boot Daddies.
PFI is America's Western store, covering over 50,000 square feet.
Over 25,000 boots.
Visit Saddle City with the largest selection of saddles and tack anywhere.
A huge selection of hats at Big Spur Hat Company in PFI Town.
And choose from the best brands of clothing and accessories for the entire family.
PFI, located on Highway 65 at the Battlefield exit in Springfield. And I'm not kidding.
Earlier in my life, I rode bucking horses and rodeos, and my shoulders took such a beating, and that was probably the reason for having several previous surgeries on both shoulders. About a year ago, I decided that I didn't want to have another surgery, and so I contacted Kansas Regenerative Medicine, took their treatment process. It was relatively pain-free. Now, after 8 months, my shoulders have healed to the point where I think I'm probably 90 to 95% of normal. It takes a couple of months to start to see results and feel real progress. That continued to increase gradually until now at approximately 8 months. And I'm extremely pleased. I've got full range of motion. I can lift weights, I can throw, I can do a lot of things that I couldn't do without a lot of pain previously. So I'm tickled to death with the results, and I'd recommend this process to anyone.
This segment brought to you by Kansas Farm Bureau, the voice of agriculture. To join today or more information, go to kfb.org or find us on Facebook and Twitter.
Today on our Kansas Farm Bureau update, meet the Carruthers family, one of 10 families honored to be named a Kansas Farm Bureau Farm Family of the Year.
Kyle and Crystal Carruthers, with many of Kyle's family members, operate a centennial farm in Harper County. The farm consists of approximately 6,000 acres of wheat with a rotation of soybeans and milo. They also own a Black Angus cattle herd with 500 head. The wheat fields are also used to feed stocker cattle the family raises. Crystal and Kyle recently served on KFB's Young Farmers and Ranchers Committee. Crystal attended the Women's Fly-In this past year in Washington, D.C., and the couple volunteered for several local Farm Bureau events, such as the District FFA Discussion Meet. The couple is very active in their local church, the Anthony United Methodist Church. Kyle serves as a member of the American Quarter Horse Association. Crystal is an elementary school teacher and has traveled with the Kansas Department of Agriculture as a trade ambassador. Crystal and Kyle think farmers need to stop preaching to the choir and continue making meaningful connections with those in and out of the agricultural industry, which is where Kansas Farm Bureau can make an impact.
Stay with us. We'll be back after the break with Plain Talk.
Tarwater Farm and Home is a 40-year-old local family-owned business. Clothing for work and play, seeds and feeds, boots, toys for the kids, and tools you'll need for around the house and farm. And a service department to keep them in top running order. It's a big store, so take some time to see what they have for your farm and home. Tarwater's everyday pricing is like others' sale prices. When you need it, they've got it. Tarwater Farm and Home, 4107 North Topeka Boulevard.
I'm Scott Thellman, and this is Juniper Hill Farms. Even though my parents weren't farmers, they bought this beautiful farm north of Lawrence in 1999. In 2010, I started growing vegetables on this land. Today, Juniper Hill Farms sells produce to wholesalers, grocers, and restaurants, and is focused on growing high-quality food that everyone can afford. Watch my story and the stories of other young Kansas food producers at kansaslivingmagazine.com/meetafarmer.
As fourth-generation farmers themselves, Heinen Brothers Ag Service understands the risk and rewards of farming. So when it comes to quality aerial and ground application, fertilizer, ag chemicals, and anhydrous ammonia, call Heinen Brothers Ag today, 800-760-4964.
KFRM is one of the largest farm radio stations in the nation, dedicated to informing and entertaining rural listeners from northern Oklahoma to southwestern Nebraska. You can catch KFRM in many ways. Of course, 550 on the AM dial, streaming at kfrm.com, or on your smartphone by going to the TuneIn Radio app, or on Ag AM in Kansas on Tuesdays and Facebook every day of the week. KFRM, tune us in. You'll be glad you did.
This segment brought to you by Kansas Corn. Learn more at kscorn.com.
Welcome back. Now let's see what Kyle and Duane are up to on this edition of Plain Talk.
Hi, this is Kyle Bauer with Plain Talk with the gawking Duane Towes. You're gawking around like you've never seen any of this stuff
getting
before.
Creepy and looking right at you people today.
Creepy, the creepy Duane Towes. I've never called you creepy.
The fact or fiction question of the day, Kyle Bauer. The Caesar salad got its name because it was invented in a hotel in Paris, France.
No.
Fact or fiction?
That's fiction. It was in a restaurant in Los Angeles.
Really?
I think so.
I have no idea,
It's
but
not Paris.
The truth was
Caesar should have been Italian anyway.
The Waldorf salad was invented at the New York Waldorf Hotel.
Oh, okay. There you go. Well, that would make sense.
Waldorf salad.
Do you like Waldorf salad? Isn't that the one with
the apples and the walnuts?
Yeah,
and
mayonnaise.
A few other things.
You put mayonnaise on it, it's got to be good.
Just put it in there and go.
It's got to be good.
Interesting you mentioned that. There's a salad that's had frequently at get-togethers for our family. It's got lettuce and peas and carrots.
Yeah, we call it layered salad.
Yeah,
and cheese
and it's
on
got
top.
just Miracle Whip, or
Right.
if you're a purist, mayonnaise.
Right, and some eggs, hard-boiled eggs.
Yeah, and some cheese.
Uh-huh.
Right.
My favorite, actually.
I love it. It's great stuff. The interesting thing is that is called salad dressing. Miracle Whip and or mayonnaise is called salad dressing.
Right.
How many people ever put a big old dollop of that on a
salad?
On a salad.
Yeah. I don't know why
Never
that
happens,
is.
does it?
No, you're right.
It makes you wonder why. Have we all been brainwashed? Why don't we use salad dressing for salad? Instead, we make sandwiches with it.
No, we do. Well, what do you call the stuff you buy in the squirt bottles? Is that not salad dressing? How many bottles? I got to tell you right now.
Okay.
Ask you right now. How many bottles of salad dressing do you have in the refrigerator at home?
2.
2.
No, I take that back. 3, because my wife made something that had nothing to do with salad with one.
Okay.
We have Dorothy Lynch and ranch.
That's it.
And there is a bottle of Russian in there because she made a special chicken dish that took Russian dressing.
Well, and
it's going to sit there till 3 years from now. She decides
we're Americans and we don't eat Russian dressing.
We don't throw that away. No, I just don't. I don't enjoy it. So
well,
but that's what we have.
I bet you, we have 10.
Really?
And the reason we have 10 is because we don't eat 10.
For a period of time, you asked right now, and that's what we have. But my wife and I, at one point, went through a blue cheese kick here about a year ago.
I have to buy my own blue cheese dressing.
And we were both consuming blue cheese dressing on salads at home. And then all of a sudden, it kind of went away. I don't know why.
Well, you might have ran out and forgot to buy it. That'll happen.
Is it expensive?
Oh, I don't know.
Any more so than the rest? Probably not.
Well, and they're generally on sale. You can buy 2 bottles for $3, except you don't want them when they're on sale.
I was just trying to figure out there must have been a reason why we quit buying it.
I bet nobody bought it. I bet if you would buy it, Duane, somebody would eat it.
It consumed. Well, only Ange and I. None of the rest of the family, near family, is a fan of blue cheese.
Well, then you'd have it around for a while.
It stays longer.
Yeah. The one thing my wife tends to like, the healthier dressings.
Oh, so you have vinaigrettes?
Oh, yeah.
Like raspberry?
We got raspberry vinaigrette. We got peach vinaigrette. We got vinegar vinaigrette. So it's like...
I don't understand how those are really that much healthier because they have a fair amount of oil in them.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's any healthier than the good old American dairy fat that I'm getting in my blue cheese.
I like the way you think, Duane.
Thanks for joining us. I'm your host, Jamie Bloom, and I hope you enjoyed today's show. See you next week on Farm Factor.
Closed captioning brought to you by Ag Promo Source. Together we grow. Learn more at agpromosource.com.